Hello guys, welcome back. So we are ready to continue our journey to register our stake pool. And for that, we have to register, of course, our stake address. I have already done that to simplify things because I have already done that in a previous part of the course. So just register your stake address before continue. I have also requested funds from the faucet, which I haven't done before. So now I am ready to move on. And the next thing that we have to do is actually very useful. You want to have, it is optional, but it is really useful because it allows wallets and services like the explorers to actually provide more information to the users about your stake pool. And this is a JSON object that you must put at a URL. It must be, the URL itself must be no longer than 64 bytes. And the JSON should contain the name, the description, the ticker, and the homepage. And it has some restrictions. The name should be less than 50 characters long. The description should be up to 255 characters. Ticker somewhere between 3 and 5 characters. And the homepage with additional information about your pool. All characters in the metadata file will be UTF-8 encoded, and the entire object should not be more than 512 bytes. I have already done that here. I am using just GitHub Gist for this. Of course, if you have a domain, you can use it. You can put it there. It is just because it is simple and easy to put it here. And this is my raw version of it. But of course, this URL is way longer than 64 bytes. So I'm going to use short.io to actually shorten this URL. And I actually have it here. So now I can just use it. Okay. This will be used when we generate our registration certificate. Among other things, it will ask for the metadata URL and for the metadata hash. So let me just get that. So to get the metadata hash, we need to download the file that we just created. It is course.json. Now I need to use Cardano CLI stake pool metadata hash pool metadata file. This will be the input file, which is the one that we just created, the one that we downloaded. And we are going to produce an output file, which will be course.hash. One more thing that I want to do is actually save the shortened URL into a file. So I'm going to make it course.url. This is not. I want to use this one. That is Control O, Control X. So now I have the 3 pieces of information that I need: course.hash, course.json, and course.url. So from here, we can now proceed to actually create the registration certificate. And I have created a help file here, which the information for my stake pool. So it is Cardano CLI stake pool registration certificate. That's not Magic 2. It will take the cold verification key, the BRF verification key, and here we start to think about some of our pool parameters. And we have to think about our pledge. So the faucet gives me 10,000 ADA, but the pool deposit will be 500 ADA, sorry. So that will leave me 9.5. So 9,000 ADA as a pledge sounds reasonable. The min pool cost is right now at 340 ADA, so I'm just going to stick with that. The pool margin, I'm going to use 5%. Then we have the pool reward account verification key and the pool owner stake verification key. And in this case, I am using the same stake key for both purposes. It could be different ones, but in this case, it's going to be the same one. Then I'm going to use the pool relay IPv4, and I am putting the IP address of my relay node, the port that I will be using in this relay. Right now, I am going to, for this example, only have one relay. For real, it is suggested that you have at least two. But for this example, for simplifying stuff, I will be using only one relay. And then we need to have the pool metadata URL that we are going to read from course.url. And then we have the metadata hash that we are going to read from course hash. And we will produce the pool registration certificate. So let me just nano help.file, and let me just copy this command because I'm gonna run this command in my airgap machine. So let me just Control O, Control X. And for that, I'm gonna just copy help. I'm gonna copy this to my volumes CLR, and I'm going to copy course, all the course files to volumes CLR. Just to make sure. There it is, course, and we have the help file also. That's great. So now I can come here and basically just unmount this, and now I can remove this and come to my airgap machine to produce the registration certificate. So now I have my pool registration certificate, which now I need to sign and submit. But before that, it is a good idea to also create the delegation certificate to honor the pledge, right now. So now I can submit both certificates to the chain. And now I need to come back to my main machine because I need to build the transaction. Coming back. And I'm just gonna use it to build the transaction body. All right. It is there. Okay. So now I can copy from volumes CLR the pool registration certificate into this directory, and I'm gonna copy the delegation certificate to this directory, and now I can run this. To build the transaction raw file. So it is complaining about something. What it is, it complains about. I know what it is. So let me just fix that very quickly. It is reading from here and it should be there. Nice. So I'm gonna fix this one. It should be key 0 because there's only one UTXO here. So now I can now copy tx.raw to volumes CLR and unmount again. This is a little bit of juggling, but it is totally acceptable with soulful security. So now I can sign with payment called an stake key. This is why we have witness override 3 over here, because we are going to sign with the 3 files, right? So now we can bring this from media I'm going to copy the tx.raw to my ERGAD machine, and I can now Cardano CLI. Let me actually just record at least this part. Start recording. So that it is not that boring. CP Media Cardano CLI tx.raw. I already have it here. And let me clear the screen so that it's not at the bottom. And Cardano CLI transaction sign. And we can now tx body file. It is tx.raw. And we're going to use the signing key file, the payment for paying for the transaction keys, the transaction fee, sorry. Then another signing key file, which is the stake signing key, and another signing key file, which is the cold signing key, and then it is testnet magic 2, and finally we will produce this out file, which will be tx.signed. There you go. Let me just copy tx.signed to my USB drive. Over here, clear this screen, copy from volumes, CLR, tx.sign to this directory, and now I can just submit this to the chain with transaction submit, and we have done several times. And with that, our stake pool is registered on chain. So now we can let me just check. Yes, I have it there. So I can use the cold verification key to actually get the stake pool ID. And I can do it here. Yes, let's do that here. But it is not here, but instead it is in volumes, and it is in CLR. Call the key, and will give us the pool ID, which we can then come to Cardano Scan preview and find us here. And we have just registered our stake pool, and it should have been just a minute ago. That's great. So now, what else should we do from here? It's time for us to issue the operational certificate, which is a piece of file that is missing here so that we can actually start our node to run as a block producer. And for issuing the operational certificate, we must first calculate the current KES period. And you may ask, what the hell is that? We said before that we are going to use the KES keys to actually sign our blocks. in conjunction with the operational certificate, because the operational certificate is some sort of a delegation certificate. And this key evolving signature is not a static key. It's a key that actually evolves, changes, mutates every now and then. And we know from the Shelley Genesis file that these keys can evolve a maximum cast evolutions of 62 times. After that, these keys no longer work. And how long does it take to have one of those evolutions? Well, each of those evolutions lasts 129,600 slots, and this is from your Shelley Genesis file. So this is the first piece of information that we need. How many slots are in every cast period? And now the other piece of information that we need is the current slot. And by dividing, we're going to know what is the current cast period. In our operational certificate, we are going to say that these keys are valid starting from this cast period. So the next thing that we need to know in real time is the current slot. And from here, we can simply calculate that. It is the current slot divided by 129,600, and that will give us, this is the 95 cast period. And this information we are going to use when we produce the operational certificate. So let me come back here to my ergat machine, where I hope I'm still recording. Yes. So now I can use Cardano CLI node issue upsert. It will take the CAS verification key file, which is cas.vkey. It will take the cold signing key file, sorry, and we are going to sign this with the signing key. Then operational certificate issue counter, remember that file that we produced at the beginning of our journey? Now it's time to use it. Then cast period, it is 95, and then the out file of this is the upsert.cert. And now let me just bring my USB drive again, and then plug it here and copy upsert.cert to media. There you go. Unmount it. There we go. Coming back here, a little bit of a juggling. It's totally fine. So now I can just copy the upsert certificate to my block producing node, and it should be now here. So there we go. We have completed our registration. Now we just have to enable our block producing node to start with the keys that we just uploaded, and just make sure that everything is well connected together with their topology files. So that will be part of the next video. See you there.